Data as Culture is the art programme at the ODI. Data as Culture has always been about data people, because as soon as you start to think about data, about how it affects us, how it describes us, you realise that people are at the heart of all of that, and artists are experts at interrogating that and finding out new ways to think about it. My name is Redler Hawes. I'm a curator and the director of the Data as Culture programme at the Open Data Institute. The sorts of projects we do with artists range from inviting artists to make new commissions with us, inviting artists to join us as artists in residence, and developing exhibitions here at the ODI offices and with international partners across the world.
Hi, I'm Julie Freeman and I'm an artist who works with data and the natural world, particularly interested in data that comes from live animals, and I make work that is animation, sound, sculpture, installation, that kind of stuff. So the Data as Culture art programme was founded at the very beginning of the ODI. I knew the then CEO and I said to him, if you're going to have an open data institute, you really need to have an art programme, because artists have been working with data and they're brilliant at triggering conversations in unusual ways. And then we started commissioning artists to create a series of works for the actual launch of the ODI itself. So one of the artworks that triggered a lot of conversation was The Obelisk by Fabio Lattanzi Antinori. It was a beautiful sort of a light sculpture, and it flickered because it was constantly scanning the internet for news articles that were like crimes against humanity. And every time a different crime was detected, the light would flicker. Even if you didn't understand what open data was, you could ask the question and then the artwork kind of explained what it meant. Another piece of work that we had in the launch was called The Vending Machine by Ellie Harrison. And the vending machine has become an ODI classic, and it looks like a normal crisp machine, and the crisp machine is hooked up to the BBC News feed. So whenever there's a certain number of keywords triggered, it drops a packet of crisps. So for instance, if there's a fiscal downturn, then it will say, oh, that's not very good, here, have a packet of crisps. A lot of the artworks that we've had at the Open Data Institute, a lot of the ones that we've commissioned, as well as ones that were existing that we've exhibited, they use data as an art material at their core, and they have a sort of irreverent use of data. And I think that's really important because it makes us consider, is data truth? Is it what we should be relying on just because somebody said the data backs it up?
I started working with the Open Data Institute in 2014 as an associate curator. We have shown or exhibited over 105 artworks. About 35 of those have been new commissions. We've worked with about 74 artists, and we've identified over 25 different data types. I think one of the really key things about Julie Freeman's work as a researcher is the way her ongoing research provides the fuel for the programme. She recently stepped back to concentrate on her own work, but remains a really important and integral part of the team as the art associate.
When I was working at the ODI, I developed a piece of work called We Need Us. And We Need Us is about metadata. The title describes the fact that humans are still very integral to the technological process, and even within these data landscapes, the human element is essential. And We Need Us is a series of now 15 compositions that uses real-time data to create animation and soundscapes. I like the idea of people, as well as getting your news online or being educated or whatever, that you could stumble across a really nice piece of artwork.
I'm Natasha Carawana. I'm an artist currently in Margate, and I work with photography, video and installation. And as part of the residency, I put together a solo show. So all of my work was put up in the office. Just interestingly, there was somebody that was getting married in the office at that time. They were talking about, oh, I'm gonna have my wedding by the sea. I really wanna have the backdrop of the sea. And one of the people there said, actually, the highest divorce rates are all coastal towns. So I was really inspired by that. So I started to look at the actual data of divorce And it was amazing that 42% of marriages end in divorce. Amazingly, the top 10 towns of the highest rates in the UK, every single one, like 1 to 10, are all coastal towns. So I went off with my notebook and my big journey, and I started to track and go to these divorce towns. Why is there a high divorce rate? So I looked at deprivation, I looked at waiting times of the NHS. I used so many different data sets in order to kind of analyse why is this happening. At the end of this road trip, I actually met my husband and we did this data dance where we enacted these kind of actions or ebb and flow of a relationship. And then I threaded together all of these wedding rings that I'd collected, 1,600 wedding rings. And in the exhibition, the audience walks through this curtain of broken dreams, and then you view this video piece kind of beyond the curtain. And the two really work hand in hand together. And it was an extraordinary project. It was really conceived just because of the support of Open Data Institute and the Data as Culture program. I never really saw my work in this light before. And just to be creating alongside such specialists and to have that support really made me rethink my practice. And it was amazing to then show it in so many different iterations.
One of the things I'm most proud about, apart from just the art programme sustaining itself for the last 10 years, is that some of the works commissioned have been shown in many other places. So we partnered with FACT in Liverpool to create the new observatory.
Another artist in residence we had was the artist couple Thompson and Craighead, John Thompson and Alison Craighead, who are British artists, conceptual artists who've been working with media technologies and large aggregate systems like the World Wide Web for 20, 30 years. They came across a covert recording of some students at Wisconsin University heckling and hassling recruitment staff from the NSA, the American National Security Agency.
Right, but you're here recruiting, and so you're selling the organization. So, I mean, I'm less interested in what your specialized role is.
And they created a new interactive installation based around this recording called Recruitment Gone Wrong.
Organization to people that are as young as high schoolers and trying to tell us that this is an attractive
There was a
option.
kind of dialogue emerged that raised an awful lot of questions around net neutrality, around security, around privacy, around a whole range of things that are really central to data conversations.
Clearly know that the NSA has been telling us complete lies.
Hi, my name is Mr. G. I'm a poet, and I would like to say that I am the innovator of what is known as data poetry.
No belt, no mobile phone. Remove my shoes in the required zone. No screwdrivers, no bottle cologne, no hat, no coins, no stop.
So I first met Mr. G when I came across one of his poems called Ticket to Fly from 2014.
But my facial features fit the profile. Dark skin, dark hair, and dark brown eyes.
In the poem, he tells a narrative of trying to go on holiday where his dark hair and dark skin impacts the way that he's treated at airport security. And immediately, with my data hat on, I got thinking about algorithmic bias.
But what's the man at customs supposed to do?
Hannah Redler Hawes, she saw the way in which the two of us, the scientific and the artistic, work together, and she brought me in to then be a part of the ODI's Data as Culture, and from that time on, I've just been exploring data within poetry ever since.
Meet the data. In a land of analytics where reality is recreated, mass-produced and pay-per-viewed so disparities can be inflated.
The first piece of poetry that I wrote for them was called Meet the Data, which took on board the ideas of shared data systems.
If yesterday's picture was tainted, could AI Photoshop paint it 1,000 words?
The future's neither bright nor is it orange, my friend. The future's always hectic. I think that my work has evolved 1,000-fold since working with the ODI. Just from going to the summits, from reading the literature, from meeting all the people involved in data, I've realized that its scope goes all around the planet and then some.
And the remnants of the old days. Take a walk through the green mountains of England.
With the help of the ODI, I created a digital art piece that was called Bring Me My Fire Truck. Very, very strange name, but I'll explain the meaning behind it. We took the poem Jerusalem by William Blake, which is like the quintessential poem that describes England. It's even sung at rugby games. And we ran it through Google Translate into all the different languages that are spoken around the EU. So we take it from English, we run it into French, then bring it back into English, then run it into Slovenian. With each different change, with each different retranslation of it, the poem's meaning would start to change. So it was a very beautiful marriage of art, artificial intelligence, and data all coming together to make a statement about society.
Und war das heilige Lamm Gottes auf Englands schönen Weiden gesehen.
The first time this piece was ever showcased to the public was at the Tate Britain on the day that Brexit actually began.
Hi, my name is Antonia Roberts and I'm an artist and curator based in Birmingham, and most of my artwork explores copyright and authorship. It's mostly digital, so it will take the form of videos, projections, performances, and also incorporates a lot of programming.
COVID forced us to think about our online exhibition presence, and I wanted to work in a collaborative way on that. So I invited Antonia Roberts, who is an artist we've worked with several times as an artist. He became the guest curator for our online exhibition, Rules of Engagement.
The exhibition was basically about data ethics and advocating for ethical practices when working with data. And so I invited 3 artists to make work that responded to that. Nick Breeze, Everest Pipkin, and A.M. Dog. The artworks that they created were all sort of like narrative in some way, or like narrative storytelling. They led you through certain scenarios.
So every second of every day, automated decision makers, or ADMs, are determining every aspect of our lives. Artificial intelligence has replaced human judgment, and now a machine determines if you can buy a home, purchase a car, and increasingly, even get a job.
How they watch you. Tackling the issue of browser fingerprinting, which is one prevalent technique these days for tracking people on the internet.
I was 19 years old when I discovered I was face blind. Or to be more accurate, when I discovered that other people were not.
Our artist residency program has got increasingly more integrated with the main work that we do in our core business at the ODI. So in 2017, we invited Alistair Gentry, who's a performance artist, to spend 9 months working with the R&D team, exploring data trust and sharing.
Docsbox is a pretend AI. It interviews you about your digital life and the services you use, and then it can tell you stories about the effects that might have on your life as a whole. It gently encourages you to share more than you might want to. People interact with it as if it's a thing, as if it's an entity or a machine. Docsbox is pink, glittery, gold, queer, slightly broken. The Open Data Institute and the Data as Culture program have just been great places to work. They were particularly good at helping me to get out of the darker implications of it, to make sure that things are free and fair and open and equitable, which are the subjects that I'm talking about in this work.
It's always really exciting when the art programme can really segue, really dovetail with the main business projects going on here at ODI. And we were very fortunate to be part of a programme called Data Stories, which was a collaboration between University of Southampton, ODI, and now King's College, as part of an EPSRC research grant.
Hi, my name is Edie Jo Murray. I'm an artist and I live in Coventry, and I am one of the artists who was involved with making Mood Pinball alongside my collaborator here.
The thing that really mattered to us was to work with a community who were not necessarily the go-to community, who were always being consulted about data, who were always being asked about what data they might need. So we worked with an organisation called BOM in Birmingham, who has particular networks with autistic adults in the region.
Hi, I'm Ben Neal. I'm a creative technologist and did a lot of the programming work and interactivity with Mood Pinball. We had a series of workshops with neurodivergent participants and asked them about what sort of data would inform their everyday lives, that could help them navigate the world better, what would be useful to them. And then from those workshops, we sort of baked down the ideas into a kind of gaming format.
And through the workshops, the artist Edie Jo Murray, who is herself autistic, became very, very interested in the project and was very active in the final outcome, which is a real physical pinball machine.
In Mood Pinball, you travel around the play field, which is a kind of abstracted map of Coventry, visiting different locations. So you play as Edie, as the ball, and you travel to the park, the city, the gallery. So yeah, this is one of the venues, one of the sites you can visit in the game. It's pretty noisy. Very simplified way of going. Loud noises, not good, not very happy, and then nice, quiet, relaxing spaces, great.
Herbert Museum and Art Gallery in Coventry. When you manage to get into the gallery when you're moving around the Coventry playfield, you get a little mood boost, because who doesn't get a mood boost from going to see some art? So that's where we are in real life today.
Mood Pinball is currently on display at the ODI office as part of the Copy That show, and people who come can have a go. It's really fun, it's really playful, and you can also download it as a free app.
I think that the website and the history of the art programme gives us this legacy, and we're really proud to be able to sort of present that as a collection that people explore, because not only does it show what we've done, it's also a sign of the times. So you can see what kind of work was being made in the current data landscape of the time. And over 10 years that's changed, and I hope that it just carries on for the next 10 years.
We're really, really open to, and in fact actively want and seek out more partnerships with different organisations that can get bigger and better and ask more questions, because we really think that working with artists allows questions to arise and value to come out that doesn't come out in any other way.